Hey guys. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if I sound okay. My computer literally just shut down on me and I had to reboot it, so it's still kind of loading. Um
They're my favorite.
okay. Hey everybody. Hello. Yeah, this is listen, I had to like come through and talk about this because, some of y'all got real triggered by my last two Derek Jackson videos. And the women who seem to be triggered the most are like what appear to be, because obviously I don't know all these women in oh my god, I don't know what my computer is doing. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know all the women, who are in my comment section. Obviously, I don't know their situation, but it's like a recurring theme from the women who are mad. And it's like, it's always like a shade towards women, or shade been thrown towards women who are single and who are not married, as if, Derek Jackson is some type of prize, right? And so I got a lot of comments like that, y'all. Now there were I think most black women are kind of on the same page. I don't know about most, cuz he did gain a lot of subscribers. Like, he gained a ton of subscribers. I know at least 100K, right? And a lot of people, I think, are just trying to subscribe just to see what he's going to do next. But a lot of those people are going to stay, and maybe they're men who subscribe to him. I don't know. So I don't know, what the percentages are of women who are like, oh, he's canceled, I'm unsubscribing, I'm not listening to him, versus women who are like, I'm gonna give him another chance. He gained 200,000 subscribers. Wow, crazy. I'm not surprised though. Like I said, in my first video, he ain't going nowhere. He is not going nowhere. And did see Tasha K's last video, where they said he had $100,000 deal on the table with TD Jakes. So yeah, he's, like I said in the first video, he's about to completely rebrand himself, and he's gonna be all saved and sanctified and religious. He's probably gonna be a pastor. I wouldn't be surprised. And his wife gonna be right there next to him. Uh, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. But it's just a reoccurring theme I see with these women who are like mad about the women who are, either telling his wife to leave him, or trying to talk some sense into her, or whatever the case may be. And is if you notice, I didn't do that. I didn't tell her, leave him or whatever, because it's complicated. And like I said, I think she's there because of the lifestyle. It is what it is. She don't want to give up that lifestyle. Y'all think, she's on there with her bonnet, or a lot of y'all, that's something else y'all were saying in the comment section. Oh, that's not a bonnet, Chrissy, it's a hat. Listen, it looked like a bonnet. It looked like a bonnet, so I'm gonna call it a bonnet. Okay. So, you know, I a lot of y'all are confused by that. Like, oh, well, if it was about the lifestyle, then why did she come on there looking like that? That doesn't mean that she doesn't enjoy the lifestyle. Because I was on her Instagram and I saw her house, like the background of her. She lives in a nice house. They got a nice mansion. So she ain't ready to give all that up yet. You know, and so that is the situation for a lot of women who deal with cheating spouses. You know, yeah, I said what I had to say about how I personally wouldn't have came on camera looking like that, but I do understand she's going through a lot. And then when you read through her posts, You can kind of see where she was saying how, oh, I compared myself to these women, and she was real obsessed with looks. So maybe she just feels like, she's over that. She doesn't want to do that anymore. So I kind of got a better understanding of why she may have come on camera like that. I don't know. Okay. I just know it wouldn't have been me. Okay. But all this, dragging her through the mud and, making fun of her looks, I just think that's a little bit unnecessary. I'm not gonna do that. But I will say, and a shout out to, I don't know who that was. If you're in the chat room, go ahead and speak up. But the woman under the last video, she pointed out how a lot of these memes they're creating, the black people, we're gonna make a joke out of everything, right? All of the memes they're creating with the animated memes with the bonnets and stuff, all of those characters that they're drawing and illustrating are dark skinned, right? And so the woman in my comment section, she was like, anytime, it's a story of struggle or sadness or whatever it is, struggle, love, whatever it is, they always depict the woman as being dark skinned, right? Darker than she is, because the woman is not dark. She's, I would say she's in the middle, she's brown skin, right? But in every illustrated photo, every meme that I've seen anyway, she's extremely dark skinned. And I'm like, she's not even that dark. So you see how they associate the struggle and anything they perceive to be negative or bad with dark skinned women. Like, this is how pervasive colorism is. This is how pervasive colorism is, especially in the black community, and why this channel is so needed and why these conversations are so needed, right? Yeah, anything that has to do with suffering. I mean, it's just, and I didn't catch that. I'm not gonna lie. Usually I pick up on that kind of stuff. I'm like, woo, good observation. Y'all listen to me and y'all start seeing with a different set of eyes. And I like that. I like when y'all see stuff that I don't see, because I was like, whoa, that is so true. It's bad out here, y'all. It's bad. Um, but yeah, and so I want to talk about black women who are under my comment section accusing me and other unmarried black women of being jealous of Derek Jackson's wife because we're single. And oh, y'all are jealous because she got a high value man, and you're just bitter and you're lonely, and you want her to be bitter like you, and marriage is not that simple. And listen, again, I made it a point in my video not to tell this woman to leave her marriage. Like I said, it is up to every individual woman to decide what is and what isn't a deal breaker for her. And like I said, when you have a lot invested, when you have years of time, you have kids, you have the house, sometimes it just feels easier to stay where you are. So I've seen that, everybody, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of you have married women in your families. You have married friends or whatever. I know somebody right now, a very good friend of mine, who is in a miserable marriage. This woman is miserable to the point she had to cut off all of her hair because it was falling out. But she has kids. I mean, just a lot invested, and she doesn't feel like she's in a position to leave right now. So like, that's why I have empathy. I had empathy, and I do have empathy for Derek Jackson's wife, even though I think homegirl might be a little bit crazy and she's colorist. I still have empathy for her as a woman. um but I'm not in the business of telling women what to do in those kind of situations. I've never done that on my channel, right? Never done that on my channel. Never told a woman or advised a woman. First of all, I'm not a relationship expert. That's the first thing. Secondly, I'm never gonna get up here and be like, leave your husband. No, that's not my place, right? The point of my last two videos was to explain part of the reasons black women even find themselves in that predicament with men like Derek Jackson, and why he and other black male gurus are able to become so successful among black women. Didn't see the, huh? I don't know what that means. But so that should have been the takeaway from my last video. So I think some of you really need to unpack why you're getting so upset with other black women whose standards are higher than his wife's. And let me say this. Let me just say this. Um I don't think I don't doubt that many pick-me's and mammies would be jealous of Derek Jackson's struggle marriage. So be clear, there probably are some black women out there who are jealous. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing that there are some black women who are jealous, but when you come to my doorstep with that accusation, I have to respectfully correct you. See, this is what a lot of you need to understand, right? Especially in this YouTube space, there are a lot of different camps of black women, and a new black woman in particular emerging, from these level up conversations, right? You have uh the desperate black women who will just, take any old black man just to say she has a black man, or, a black husband or a black family. And those are usually the women, in the struggle marriages, who just think just because they have the title that they're better than you. Meanwhile, they're to sleep, crying themselves to sleep every night, right? So you have those kind of women. Um, and then there are those of us who are more patient and would rather be single or date different high value men of all races until we find one who's right for us, rather than just marry and have babies with a man who we know is a serial cheater before, you know we even have kids with him, and before we even get married to him, like Derek Jackson's wife. She knew the whole time. She knew the whole time that this man was a cheater, and based on what she wrote, in her Instagram post, she was, willingly sharing him before she had a baby with him. So this woman knew. This woman knew. And so you do have women who would stop before getting to that point. You get what I'm saying? And those are women who have whose standards are a bit higher. See, some of us, and y'all gonna get triggered when I say this. Some of us really are not that desperate for a man, ladies. So I think some of you are projecting with this situation. And when you talk about single black women being bitter and lonely, um, this woman, she was already bitter. She's already angry. She's already lonely with her husband and her two kids. So who's the most bitter here? Who's really bitter here? Who's really angry? Did you read those posts? She was bitter. She was angry, and she had the man. So, and I'm sorry, I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah, Derek Jackson is a high earning man, but if I had to choose between, that and being single and childless, no, I think I'm gonna choose the latter. Or if I was in her situation, maybe I wouldn't have had the baby with him. I would have just, uh taken the ride with him and, helped him spend his money, whatever, and then bounced without any baggage. That's just me. That's just how I would do it. And if I wanted kids, I would have bounced early and try to find somebody else to have kids with. So, I don't know any logical single woman with a healthy sense of self-esteem that would be jealous of that, or who would want that. Again, maybe some of these pick me's out here, but not black women with some sense. Okay. And I think the pick me's and mammies, I think you should speak for yourselves. You want a Derek Jackson type of dude. You would put up with what Derek Jackson's wife put up with. And that may be why you're upset with single women who would rather not put up with that. And it's really it's disturbing to me how any black woman could look at this situation and actually accuse that, and that like be the first thing that come to your mind. Oh, you're just jealous because you don't have a man. What? Are you serious? And see, these women are serious, y'all, and that just lets you know. Y'all hate when I say this, but that just lets you know how bad it is when it comes to the desperation that black women have a black man, to the point to where you can see this situation and the first thing you think of on top of your head when you see other black women criticizing this situation and saying, "Look, sis, you deserve better." The first thing that comes to your mind is, "Oh, she's jealous." Like something's wrong with you. Something something's wrong with that. These are women in my comment section, Pia. Don't listen to Chrissy. She just matched because she's single. Are you serious? That's the first thing you thought of when you listen to my videos? And another what's interesting about this to me as well is that you never see this much sympathy from black women when black women who are married to white men get cheated on or get done wrong by white men. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Like, I know this is, completely different situation, but you remember, when that whole Proud Boys thing was happening and it was discovered that one of the Proud Boys' wives was black. Like, imagine if he cheated on her, right? Do you think anybody a black woman would feel sorry for her? Because did you see how we were reacting to that situation? Nobody was like, "Oh, is she okay?" Nothing. Right? And I know it's a different situation, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, when something happens to, okay, Ami McClure, that's a better example, right? When it was found out, was her husband cheating on her or something? Or no, when he said the N word? I don't remember. But y'all never seem to have this much empathy or sympathy for black women who are dating out and who are married out. And so this is how I know it's not really about feeling sorry for the wife. It's about protecting Derek Jackson or black men in general. That's what it's about. It's not really about protecting his wife. It's about protecting black men. Yeah, Gary Owens. Gary Owens. Because I'm telling you, like people would, I know there are going to be videos from probably both black men and black women included. Black women are going to make videos about that. See, black women, this, and I'm specifically talking about the pick me's and the mammies. They're going to make videos about that. And they're going to say, see, this is why you shouldn't swirl. There's going to be no real sympathy for his wife. If, um, if Serena's husband cheated on her, do you think they're going to feel sorry for Serena? No. They're gonna be like, well, see, you shouldn't have chose a white man. That's what you get, right? Tanisha said, so if his side chick was a white woman, then it would be a problem. I think it would be more of a problem. Somebody else said that in the comment section too. They were saying, oh, well, the reason why black women are so supportive is because all of the women he cheated on his wife with were black. And I believe that too. I believe that too. There's some truth in that too. There are some black women who are a little bit more forgiving when the mistresses are black. Yeah, that's true. Yep. So, y'all really do have selective outrage depending on different factors. That is very true. And it's like if you truly do feel sympathy for his wife, I feel like it's because for most of us, not all of us, I feel like for most of us it's because she's with a black man. Black women, you're not fooling me with this one. I know the real reason you're upset. Some of you, not all of you. Some of you are upset because your black love fantasy was destroyed with this situation. And you're mad about other black women who are not willing to tolerate black struggle love and black struggle marriage. That is what this is. Because I feel like if her husband was white, she would have got dragged even more. Y'all would have really dragged her. Yeah, I feel empathy for her too. I do. And don't get me wrong, a lot of y'all did go in. A lot of y'all were going in. I was like, oh my God. And some of it was funny. I'm not going to lie. I did chuckle at some of it. But, I'm not going to kick her when she's down. Um, yeah, I saw some. What are the mods not in here? Somebody trolling? Is that why you asked that, Faith? I don't have very many mods, but I do have mods. Um, so yeah, I just think it's for me, it's just really disturbing how black women, whether it be, black women you don't know, black women in your family, who try to convince you as a single woman that struggle love is better than being single. Like those days are over, y'all. We're not that desperate anymore. And you know why that is? We can make our own money. We can, those of us who are educated, we can live well. We don't really need a man for our necessities. You know what I'm saying? So it's a more so it's a situation where it's like, yeah, and I would rather be alone. I would rather be single. I would rather not have that title than put up with some bullshit. And I just think it's really, really. I think it's like when you do that to other black women, you're doing a disservice to black women. When you really try to convince them that struggle love is better than being alone. I don't like that. Because I feel like if you're trying to convince me of that, you don't care about me as a black woman. That's just how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. And a lot of you showed your colors with this situation. And I know, it's a lot of the religious, the Christian black women as well, who are like, oh, God will want us to forgive, and we need to give him a second chance. Y'all, I'm sorry. Some stuff you just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go. And listen, I'm not saying that. Yeah, misery loves company. Yeah, and that's how I see it too. It's like it feels like to me that like the same women who are saying, oh well, you just want to, a lot of you single women who are over criticizing this situation, you just want her to be lonely with you. No, I just think y'all want us to be in the struggle with them. It's like if black women are not in some type of struggle love scenario or struggle situation, y'all can't relate to her and you don't like her for it. It's like you're jealous of her for it. Yeah, and you try to pull her into that. That is so wrong. You don't care about me if you try to do that to me. And listen, this is not me saying that, I've never had like relationship issues with the black man or never tolerated anything. Listen, I've talked about the complicated situation with my ex. I'm still dealing with my complicated feelings regarding that. He did a lot for me, and if I needed him right now, he would be here. If I would call him right now and say I need this, whether it be, his time, his services, his money, whatever, he would be there, right? But he's still an ex for a reason. You get what I'm saying? And I still know where to keep him because of those reasons. And I'm like I said, I'm still going through it. I'm not gonna put him on blast or, tell all his business or whatever. Um, but it's not just me. Like people think, oh, it's you. You're fucked up. And listen, I am fucked up. Don't get me wrong. Y'all know, um, I'm fucked up. I admit that I have issues with commitment. And I'm not all the way. I'm a flawed person, just like anybody else. I'm definitely fucked up, right? But it be why it ended, why my last relationship ended is not just because of my shortcomings. He most definitely fucked it up too with his bullshit, right? He didn't cheat, right? But what I'm saying is nobody's perfect, but we as women, we got to stop ignoring the red flags and we need to learn how to walk away before we get in too deep because some of this mess is avoidable. And that was just the point of my first video on Derek Jackson. And I can say honestly, if my ex were a serial cheater like Derek Jackson's wife knew that he was before, she married him, I would not, if I were her, I would not have married him or had kids with him. And listen, this is coming from someone who's only dated high value black men and or black men who have made significantly more money than me. So I know how hard it is to walk away from somebody who's providing. You get what I'm saying? I know how hard that is. Obviously, I don't know how hard it is to walk away when you have children. That's a different story. But my point is, like, I wish black women could get to a point, or more black women could get to a point, and I feel like we are, because um even though the out of wedlock rate is going up, like, the number of black women having children is going down. I mean, I think that's across the board with all groups of women, but I think a lot of women are kind of looking at what the past generations of women had to deal with, especially black women. We're looking at that and we're like, "Listen, I don't want that. I don't want that struggle love." And you know what? If I see a red flag, I'm going the other way. And that's exactly what I've done with my last relationship. He is an ex for a reason. I didn't go through with that marriage for a reason. Do you get what I'm saying? I saw the red flags and I'm like, no, I'm good. And you can make fun of me for being single and unmarried, but listen, who knows? Maybe I dodged a bullet. Maybe I dodged a bullet. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like more black women need to respect that. Y'all need to respect that. You need to stop being so desperate for a man, a black man, especially, and respect when other black women don't want to endure the struggle. Just because you did, just because your mama did, just because your grandma did, doesn't mean we have to. We don't want that. It's a new day. The millennials, the Gen Zs, we don't want that. We don't want to live the lives that you lived. We don't want that. We don't want to struggle and raise kids on our own and deal with colorist men and ain't shit niggas. We don't want that life. We saw what you went through. We don't want that. Okay? And I feel like if you really care about your fellow black woman, you would respect that and you would be proud of that. And this is why I'm so thankful for having the kind of mom that I have, because she's a type. Listen, she sat down with me and my sister a few years ago, and we kind of knew her story, like growing up, and all the things that she went through and stuff. My mom's a baby boomer. We kind of knew her life, how she was really out in the streets, and did her thing, and getting pregnant all these times, and all this stuff. But she really sat down a few years ago and talked to us about everything that happened, and just was completely honest about it. And she told us, she was like, "I'm glad that you guys are better than me." And she always said that growing up. She's like, "I want you to be better than me. I want you to be better than me." When I surpassed her when it came to making money, she was happy for me. She wasn't jealous of me, right? When I moved in a better neighborhood, she was happy about that. She was happy that I was able to surpass her in that way. She wanted me to be better than her. She didn't want me to make the same mistakes that she made. And don't get me wrong, she didn't always have struggle relationships or anything like that, but she did make some real dust bunny decisions, some real retarded, typical black woman bad decisions, when it came to her womb and who she chose to have kids with and all this stuff, including my father. So it's like, she's happy that I didn't go down that route. And she respects the fact that I don't want kids. She respects that. She doesn't pressure me to have children. And so I'm saying this because I've seen this too many times, where whether it's a friend, and I think I've told this story on my channel before, where me and my best friends, we have our Zoom calls, every, I would say maybe twice a month, once a month, or something like that, where we just get on Zoom and we just talk for hours. Ever since the pandemic, that's what we've been doing. And because we're in different places, so we talk for hours. And I remember, like, the subject of having kids came up, and they're like, and I don't know how the conversation turned on me. I don't know, but I just was like, I don't want kids. And I don't remember like what I said after that, but they just immediately, they were like, "Oh, no, 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 you have to have at least one kid. You have to have at least one kid." Mind you, most of them on the Zoom call are single mothers. And if they're not single mother, and one of them in particular, the one I told you about, where her hair fell out and she had to get her hair cut because all of her hair fell out, she's married with two kids and miserable. Miserable. Yet these two women are telling me, "Oh no, you have to have at least one." Why? So I could end up like you? And I'm not saying that I would, but I'm just saying, like, it's, to me, it's just so selfish for you to push your own beliefs, or your own feelings on other women about having kids. Not everybody wants kids. Not every woman wants kids like you. Not every woman wants to be married just for the sake of being married, just to say, "Oh, I'm married." And I've spoken about that on this channel too. I struggle with that still. I struggle with that because part of me does want that title, just to be like, "Oh, I'm a wife." Part of me does feel like, "Oh my God, I'm getting older." Part of me does want that validation that you get from society for being a married woman. Part of me does want that, right? And you guys know I encourage marriage because women statistically fare better in marriage when they have children. And I know most women want children. So if I know that, I'm not going to get on my platform and be like, "Oh, you should," because there are women on here that do that. They feel some type of way about being a single mother, or they feel some type of way about being unmarried, so they want to project that onto their audience and try to downplay the benefits of marriage. You'll never hear me do that. You will never hear me do that, right? But for me personally, I do struggle with that. I struggle with, wanting marriage on one hand, and on the other hand, I'm like, do I want this? Do I want to be committed to one person forever and ever? Do I want a nigga all up in my space every day? You know, uh, child. And then on the other hand, I'm not that great at being independent. So it's like, it's like, "Oh, one day I'm gonna need a man," and then it's, "Oh, the title." So I'm human, okay? I struggle with all of that. Natia said it's a scam. Look, I struggle with all of that. And then on top of that, like I said, you have married women in your ear, in your family, your best friends. You have older women in your family. If it's not your mom, it's your auntie. "Girl, when you gonna get married? You getting old. When you gonna have babies? You getting old. What you gonna do when you get old? You're gonna be all alone. You ain't gonna have nobody to take care of you." So it's so much pressure. It is so much pressure, right? But I still think it's wrong to project how you feel onto other women when that may not be the best course of action for her to take. If you have children, it's not to say that you can't make it on your own, but if you have children, statistically, you are better off being married. You are better off being hypergamous. And I know most women want kids, so I'm going to encourage that on my channel, right? I'm not going to be selfish and be like, "Oh, because I have an issue with marriage, or I'm on the fence about marriage, then I'm gonna downplay it to you, and I'm gonna say, 'Oh, it ain't shit, and you don't get any benefits.'" And I'm never gonna do that. That's selfish to me. That's selfish to me. And so I don't that triggers me when other women do it. It's so selfish, ladies. Everybody is not you. Everybody's not the same as you. But, women like me, and several women who don't have heavy attachments, who don't have kids, who don't have shared assets with the man, who don't, operate on a scarcity mindset. And we know there are more fish in the sea, or even if we perceive it that way, and it's not as many fish as we think it is, right? Still, women like us, we are going to, you know, try to convince Derek's wife that she deserves better. So sometimes it's not a matter of jealousy, ladies. It's simply a different perspective based on experience. Okay. And this is why, again, I don't give marriage advice because I can't relate to that kind of attachment. Right. But when y'all start weaponizing struggle marriages, specifically struggle marriages against single black women and accusing us of jealousy, all because you're mad that a black cheating husband and his wife are being criticized, that's where it becomes a problem. It becomes a big problem. And I also think black women need to be careful about weaponizing marriage and motherhood against other black women, period, because it won't work on women who genuinely don't want marriage or children, ladies. And I know some women lie about not wanting children or marriage because, I don't know, maybe their man won't marry them, or maybe they feel they don't deserve marriage. But there are women who really are on the fence about it. Again, especially millennials and Gen Z. So it's not going to work. There is genuinely nothing you can say to me about marriage and children right now that would make me jealous, because those are two things that I don't want right now. Genuinely, two things that I don't want right now. I could never be somebody's mama right now. Are you serious? That scares the living daylights out of me. There's no way I could be somebody's mama right now. I'm too fucked up to have kids. I would probably end up in a, I don't even know. It would be a mess. It would just be a mess. I could probably handle being a wife a little bit better. And I do mean just probably a little bit better. I don't even know. I don't know if I'll be a good wife, because I would just be like, can you leave for a minute? Or I just need to leave for a minute because I can't. I start feeling suffocated after a while. I can't be around a man too long. Listen, I'm just too fucked up. So I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Okay. So there's nothing you can say to me, no picture you can paint for me, for me to be like, oh, I'm jealous. No. And look, when it comes to having kids, I know y'all are saying, oh, you might change your mind. I will most likely never want children. Nothing about it looks appealing to me. Listen, I see the little babies, cooing and moving, and their little feet and their big old eyes. I think they're adorable. But that's as far as it goes. I see them on Instagram. I'll be like, oh, look at the little baby. But do I start getting baby fever and, oh, I want one? No. Because as soon as I think of that, my stomach starts turning. Because I don't look at that as just like, oh, a cute little bundle of joy. I look at that as a huge ass responsibility. That's how I look at children. After the whole cuteness goes away, I start thinking about, oh, wow, I'm really in charge of a whole human being out here. No, and no, thank you. No, it's too, it's too overwhelming just to think about it. Mm-mm. And I was watching Nicole TV because she just had a baby and she just got married, and she's only 19, and she said something so real in her recent video. She was like, baby fever, something like this. This is probably not verbatim what she said. She said having baby fever is easy, or no, she said getting pregnant is easy, or wanting a baby is easy, something like that. She was like, but having a baby is not. It's hard. And I was like, see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of y'all glamorize all of this shit, and you think you want one, and then you have one, and it's like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. And she was talking about, postpartum depression, and how she feels like she's a different person, and you're supposed to be a different person after you have a baby. And she's going through it. But I just thought that was one of the realest things she ever said, and I think that was really good for her to say that for her audience. Like, yeah, the desire to have a baby, that's easy. But having one, that shit's hard, you know? So I'm glad she said that. And I was like, that's real. That's real. Those are the kind of conversations that a lot of people won't have, you know? Um, but yeah, listen, I know women like me are in the minority, ladies, right? The women who don't want kids, who are fickle about marriage, we're in the minority, right? But some of you still need to understand that every woman does not value marriage in the same way that you do. Everyone's not desperate for a man in the same way that you are. And let me just put y'all up on game real quick. Like, when you are not desperate for a man, ladies, that's when you get them. That's when they come. That's when they knocking on your door. That's when you got them all up in your DMs when you're not desperate for them. So that's like textbook seduction right there. Y'all want to talk about femininity and the art of seduction? That's one of the most seductive things to a man when they feel like you're hard to get. When they can see that you're not desperate for them, that you don't need them that bad. Oh, they're gonna try to get you. They're gonna try to conquer you. Men like the chase. They're hunters. They like that. So y'all need to work on not being so desperate, some of y'all. And then maybe you might just get what you want. Maybe you might actually get the man that you want if you weren't so fucking desperate for one. Yeah, Shy says exactly. Once you don't care is when they start paying attention. That is so true. Once you just do this, ladies. Just get off the dating apps for a while and just, say, you know what? Ask the universe, just bring me a man, bring a man to me and give it up to the universe and say, you know what? I'm surrendering. I'm not even gonna think about it anymore. Then go find you something the fuck to do. Get a hobby. Start writing songs or something. This is what I do to fill up my time, right? Write songs, start writing poetry, write a book, start a blog, start a business, do something. And then you'll find that when you start putting yourself in certain places, the type of man that you want is going to come to you without you even having to try like that. They always come when you're not trying to find them. Always. So that's just a little tip for you guys. But you ladies who are trying to project all this jealousy stuff, all these jealousy accusations, it's a futile effort, especially when you're using struggle marriages like Derek Jackson and his wife to do it. It's not going to work. Dangling struggle marriage in front of black women, that don't work no more. That's outdated. You're going to have to find a new trick. You're going to have to find a new method of, triggering black women. Y'all know I'm still trying to drink this water. Oh my goodness. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I'm trying to drink a gallon a day and it's I'm struggling. Yeah, it's a new day, y'all. It's a new day. The millennials, the Gen Zs, we're not doing it anymore. Oh, Rhea says black women were saying things about Derek's wife that were foul, talking about her looks, comparing her to the side chicks, calling her crazy rather than sympathizing and showing her love and compassion. Yeah, and look, my compassion for her only goes so far. It's there, but it does only go so far because, I do feel like I do feel like the religious part, like that's really disturbing to me. And I feel like she is really using religion. She's hiding behind it. She's hiding behind Christianity so she won't have to face, the reality of her situation. And so She's very delusional in that sense. And then also the colorism on top of that, talking about how she used to hate her daughter's skin. And oh, let me address that too, because some of you were saying in the comment section of my last video, you were saying, oh well, she was saying that the mistresses who were dark skinned, they had perfect skin, and they had their skin was dark skin perfection, and that's the only thing I couldn't emulate and all this stuff. And listen, I get it. Like some of you were saying, "Oh, well, she was envious of dark-skinned women. She was envious of dark-skinned women, and when her daughter came out dark-skinned, she hated her for that reason because she was envious of her." Now, that may have been what it was. It is a strong possibility that that was the case. I'm not denying that may have been the case. Um there are lighter skinned women, even though again his wife is not light skinned, she's more of a brown skin complexion. There are brown skin and light skinned women who are envious of dark skinned women. And you don't hear that conversation happening because nobody seems to think that anybody could ever be jealous of us, right? Nobody could ever be jealous of the dark skinned woman, right? But that does happen, right? But the reason why I don't think that it was, again, I don't know, it could have been with Derek's wife. But in most cases, right, when women find their daughters to be beautiful and dark skin perfection, and they think their skin is perfect, they think their hair is perfect, they tend to dote on them. They tend to shower them with love and shower them with compliments, and put them on the pedestal and live vicariously through them. That is what they tend to do, right? They don't hate their daughters. Unless they're just real fucked up people, which she may be fucked up. But they don't hate their daughters for being perfect. They seem to love them more for being perfect. And again, we see this with a lot of black women, unfortunately, a lot of biracial women who have light-skinned daughters, right? They put them on the pedestal because they do think they're perfect, they're perfection, right? So for that reason, I just don't see Derek's wife, being envious of her daughter's dark skin. I think that she really just did not want her to be dark. And you have to keep in mind something else. Sometimes a woman might envy a dark skinned woman and might envy how perfect her skin looks or whatever. That doesn't mean she wants her daughter to be dark. That doesn't mean she wants her daughter to experience color or to be dark and experience colorism. That doesn't mean they want that. And another thing you have to understand is a lot of times when lighter skinned women, they might be describing a dark skinned woman and they might say, "Oh, her skin was perfection." They might give a compliment to kind of smooth things over, to like make them not appear to be colorist. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a trick bag, right? They'll compliment the dark skinned woman. And really, it's like, no, I just don't like dark skinned women, but I'm gonna try to fool you by saying, "Oh, dark skin perfect." Like, oh, I feel like a lot of light skinned women do that with dark skinned women. To be honest, like it'll be like, it's kind of like how the men pander, right? And have you ever heard like light skinned women who say, they'll be like, "Oh my god, I just," and they'll come up under my comment section and they do this a lot. They'll say, "Oh, I don't see how anybody could hate dark skin. I wish I was dark skinned." No, you don't. Bitch, stop lying. I'm not saying it never happens. Listen, I'm not saying it never happens. Again, some light skinned women are envious of dark skinned women. They might want to be darker. But stop lying. A lot of them say that to try to make dark skinned women feel good. And a lot of us stupidly eat it up. It's a lie. Most of them are lying. They don't want to be dark. They might want clear skin or clearer skin. But if you really would say, really, if they had a chance, oh, to trade places with you, being a dark skinned woman, do you think they would really take that, y'all? Be real. A lot of motherfuckers be lying and y'all be feeding into it. Like, and this is how people get y'all, black women. This is how people suck you in. This is how the panderers suck you in, especially the men. This is how they suck you in. Yeah, they love that privilege. They're not going to give that up. Right, Lisa? Oh my God, I wish I was dark skinned like you. I love dark skinned women. They're so beautiful to me. And listen, I'm not saying they're never telling the truth, but a lot of times, y'all, that's bullshit. It's fluff to make you feel good. That's what it is. And I wish people would just stop lying. Because and I say that because like black women, we just eat it up and then we internalize it. And that gives us this illusion of inclusivity. You get what I'm saying? This kumbaya illusion. And I hate it. I hate it. I just, it's too much. So yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about that. Like, yeah, it could have been either or. Maybe she was envious of dark skinned women. Maybe she really was jealous. Maybe, she really did want to be a dark skinned woman. Maybe she really did want to emulate having, perfect dark skin. I personally just think that it was bullshit. That's what I think. Um, Let me go back. Zero Cones 94. Thank you for your donation. Let me see. Why can't I scroll up? Jay Ray says she's definitely hiding something. She gives closet lesbo vibes. Watching women secrete is too much, and she might be annoyed he found darker women attractive instead of her, who's a bit lighter. Maybe so. And I think that's really what it was. It was like, wait, what? You're cheating on me with dark skinned women? Dark skinned women? And then they just so happen to look better than her. So then she's like, "Wow, I never thought you would ever cheat on me with dark skinned women. You said that they weren't your type or something like that." That's what I think it is. That's my opinion. Um, and I don't know, maybe she is a closet lesbian. I thought of that too. I was like, maybe she's gay, but she's, into the whole church thing, right? And maybe she can't be real with her because homegirl was just going into a little bit too much detail. It's just a little too much detail. Like, girl, hold on, wait, what? Secretions, girl. I mean, listen, and the thing is, like, again, she's a good writer, but it's like if you were gonna go in that much detail about the woman's body, like you couldn't like say that about men too. Like, you didn't describe a man's penis like that. You didn't describe men like you straight up was talking about the woman's vagina juices, girl. That's a lot. That's a lot. No, I'm not religious at all. Um, Divested Zealot says Derek is a dark dusty. His wife needs to knock it off. Tripping over her daughter's skin. What did she expect? Exactly. Thank you, Divested Zealot. I don't know what the like black women, light skinned women, biracial women, if you're listening, if you have a baby with a dark skinned man, there is a chance, there is a high chance that you might have a dark skinned daughter. Okay? Keep that in mind. There's no, nothing that you can do to make you have, what you want to have. You don't know what color, what complexion your child is going to come out having. So if that is something that you're afraid of, then you might not want to have sex with a dark skinned man because that's out of your control. The complexion of your child is out of your control. To Shayla Brown says, if she was so religious, she wouldn't have had the child before marriage or living together before marriage as well. But what do I know? Touche. Girl, exactly. Thank you for your donation. Girl, but it's a lot of half ass, quote unquote Christians out there. So that part didn't shock me at all. And I mean, aside from living together and all that, I mean, isn't like lesbianism bisexuality, whatever. Isn't that like a sin too? So, and y'all be trying to act like that's just the worst sin of all. So it's like, girl, but you sitting up here talking about secretions. And the thing is, like, I was looking at her Instagram and she did have some, I don't know. I don't know, girl. Girl really might be a undercover stud. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past her because she was on there looking a little rough, a little tough in some of them pictures. She was giving me slight stud vibes, and so I'm not gonna lie, she was giving me slight stud vibes in some of those, which nothing is wrong with. But it's like, live your truth. Like, stop hiding behind religion and just be who you are. It's 2021. You can be who you are. Like, just be you. Monique Create says, I think her husband either manipulated her into a threesome and she was envious of the other women, or he cheated and filmed it and saw the video. Yeah, because I was trying to decipher like which one it was when I read those posts. I was like, did she join in, or and that's another thing. Maybe she did or he did manipulate her into having threesomes that maybe she really did not want to have. Because sometimes men do that. I know what's her name from Carbonation. Every now and then I look at the videos and see what's going on with them. And Velvet, because she done got out the cult, honey. She done got away from Nature Boy, and she's blasting him like she's going off on that nigga, and I love it. Like, she's going off, and she was talking about how, when she was in the cult, he would make her have sex with the other women, and she really didn't want to do it. So yeah, men, there are men who do that. Miss Coco Diva says she is part. Wait, oh, where'd it go? Oh man, I don't know what happened to it. Oh, it says she is part of the Lord's Army, Chrissy. She had on a helmet. Oh yeah, I saw that. Where she said it's not a bonnet, it's a helmet, and something about going to war for being a soldier for Christ. Girl, typical Jesus talk, honey. She Listen, if that is what it takes to cope, I guess, but I just don't. I hope that she doesn't snap one day. Cuz again, it feels like she's hiding behind religion. It feels like she's using that as a shield. And it's like, that's only going to last for so long, honey. At some point, yeah, helmet of salvation, that's what she said. At some point, that it ain't going to work no more. You're going to have to face reality. And then based on Tasha's last video, like, he's still fucking around with women, like the mistress, the third mistress. She said she was fucking with him last week. So he's full of shit. All of that shit, how he talking about how he hasn't cheated and he found the Lord and he's been delivered, he's lying. If the third mistress is telling the truth, which honestly I believe her. Yeah, she was like, y'all see a bonnet and I see a helmet, a helmet of salvation. Honey, no, that's a hat bonnet, girl. That's a bonnet hat. Our eyes are not deceiving us. That is not no motherfucking helmet of salvation. That is a hat bonnet, and you need to take that shit off. And if y'all are gonna rebrand, honey, if y'all are gonna rebrand, you can't be Bonetta. You can't be Bonetta. You gotta come up there looking like a first lady. You gotta put your hat on. You gotta put your makeup on. You gotta put your church outfit on. I know that you trying to give up the whole vanity thing because you were comparing yourself to other women. You can still do that, but you're gonna have to show up as first lady if y'all gonna try to sell this new brand. You get what I'm saying? If you gonna try to sell this new thing, you can't be Bonetta, sis. You gotta take the bonnet off, the hat bonnet, you gotta take the helmet off, and you gotta get right. You gotta get right. You gotta come up there looking like Yolanda Adams or something. Okay, Mary, Mary. That's how you gonna have to look if you want to sell these books and you want to sell. If you want him to be pastor and you're gonna be the first wife, y'all gonna be the church. You gonna go off with TD Jakes and do all that. You gonna have to sell that shit, honey. You can't be Bonetta. Oh, did I miss a donation? Ria says, "Why is it so hard to believe that there are naturally beautiful dark skinned women? My family is full of them, and they have supportive partners, family, and friends. I don't get this shock factor." Yeah, again, I just think she was adding on extra fluff. That's what I think. Yeah, helmet of delusion, exactly. She gonna learn though. And part of me just thinks, it's just like she's doing this so she can build up to that. Build up to looking like, first lady. You know what I'm saying? It could all be a whole mind fuck that they're doing. You just never know because I was looking at her post and I'm like, before Tasha K even came out, with her expose, she was going in on Instagram. So I'm like, you wanted this man to be exposed. And I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but it does when you look at the post, I'm like, girl, you were a little too public for you not to want this to go viral. So it could have been like a whole plan. I don't know. Because it was giving me very contrived when I was looking at it. I was like, oh, you wanted this man to be outed, it looked like. Because why would you be saying that so publicly? I mean, she was going on and on, and just being so descriptive. I'm like, oh, you want? I wouldn't be surprised if the wife leaked the stuff to Tasha K. Girl, I don't know. I don't know. I ain't trying to be like whole conspiracy thing, but it just looks funny style when you look at the post. I'm like, I don't know, y'all. Alicia loves y'all. Derek Jackson is nothing but a pimp by blood. He is. And he's about to turn into a preacher pimp, honey. He's about to turn into preacher pimp, and his wife is gonna be First Lady Bonetta. I'm trying to tell y'all that's what's gonna happen if he still get this deal with TD Jakes. And listen, do you think he's really? I would be really shocked if he does not get that deal. I'll be really shocked if he doesn't get that deal because didn't we just see Kirk Franklin be exposed for cussing out his son like that? Kirk Franklin, TD Jakes is uh he's a therapist for Kirk Franklin and his family. Come on now. And Kirk Franklin got all these allegations again. And Kirk Franklin, somebody was like, he sounded like Pinky when he was going off like that. Pinky from Next Friday. Oh my God. I lost it when I read that comment because he sounded just like Pinky. And Kirk Franklin was going off. And I'm like, why are the saints? This is to the saints out there. Why are y'all so shocked and appalled to hear Kirk Franklin talking like that? Y'all, like, we all grew up in church. Y'all know how them motherfuckers are. They are some of the most ruthless, foul mouth people out there. Some of the main thoughts out here hoeing in the streets is the ones in church. Some of the gayest dudes are the ones in the choir. So it's like, what is all of this surprise and shock coming from black people? Y'all are so fake. What is up with this fake outrage? And so when I heard Kirk Franklin, I just laughed. I was like, dang, he going off. That shit was funny. But the point is, like, being that he's so close with TD Jakes, and he offered Derek, he gonna get that deal. Derek about to blow up. Him and his wife gonna be sitting on that 100K. Sitting on that 100K. I wouldn't be surprised if TD Jakes didn't come out with like an interview with Derek Jackson and his wife. I wouldn't be surprised. That shit, and some network is gonna pick it up and it's gonna blow. 'Cause Derek Jackson made national television, you guys. He made it mainstream. Breakfast Club commented on this. Entertainment Tonight. Yeah, they about to milk this shit. I'm trying to tell you what's about to happen. He's gonna do a whole sit down interview like Oprah did with Meghan Markle. Yep, Red Table Talk. It's gonna be something. Somebody is gonna pick it up. It might even be bigger than Red Table Talk, y'all. Tyler Perry is gonna make a movie. Yeah, it's very Tyler Perry movie. This whole situation. That's crazy. Um, missing some donations. I can't scroll all the way up, y'all. I don't know why. To Shayla Brown says Pastor Jaxo and the Healing Hands Ministry. I can't. Baby Doll says in the first video he made before deleting it, Derek Jackson admitted that he married his wife only because she ended up pregnant and people were bad mouthing him. Oh, and you know what? I remember that now. I remember that when it was discovered that he had a baby. Okay, so that's when they got married. Okay, okay, now it's making sense. And see, that's what I mean, ladies, by seeing the red flags. You get what I'm saying? Like before you even had the baby, you should have left that nigga. Or if you was gonna milk it, you should have just milked it without having kids. It's like when y'all start having kids, that's when you become too invested. That's when you start feeling like you can't walk away. You get what I'm saying? Y'all need to just stop having kids with these niggas. Kaza Love says Daddy Jakes is a shield for everyone. However, he couldn't shield his son Jermaine from being arrested for indecent exposure in 2009. I didn't know about that, Kaza. I had no clue. Mm, mm, mm. Oh my god. But yeah, the church folks are messy, y'all. They messy. So it's just like I don't know. It's something about the black church that makes a lot of black people very delusional and out of touch with reality. You know what I mean? It's very disturbing, and I don't try to knock people with for their beliefs because people are were under that video, the first video I did, and they were like, "Oh, Chrissy, you're always attacking Christian women." And it's just always like anytime it's like when I'm talking about black women, when I'm criticizing y'all, I'm attacking you, right? Talking about Christianity, I'm attacking Christians. When I'm talking about trans women, I'm transphobic, right? When I'm talking about black men, I hate black men. Like y'all, it's like when it's your turn, it's your turn. If a situation presents itself where I need to address a certain group of people and I need to give you, constructive criticism, then that's what that I'm on you right now. You can't all of a sudden scream hate and scream, "Oh, I'm being attacked," and play victim when it's your turn. I don't know why y'all don't understand. I don't discriminate over here. I don't discriminate on this channel. Like if you need constructive criticism, if it's your turn to get it, you're going to get it.